a Mike and the Mad Dog reunion has been discussed really since the day we split up.
How can you not be excited? A reunion of Mike and the Mad Dog, a special night at Radio City after 8 years, full house, we'll be into it. Doing this show for two reasons. The cause is superb. The Garden of Dreams, they get right in there and do good things, building basketball courts in dilapidated neighborhoods. They're hands-on.
The money that is raised, all of it goes to do the good work.
So the Garden of Dreams and the fan interest in this brings us together on this special night.
Everything came together. Right people, right place, right time.
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66. What people saying.
1989, the station was very much falling apart at the seams. It just didn't have a New York heart to it.
You have to have New Yorkers talking about New York or it doesn't work.
I was playing basketball, walking in the streets of New York somewhere to a gym.
They came to me on a Friday in the summer and they said,
Chris, we got an idea for you that I think you're going to like.
how would you like to go to afternoon drive? And I said, I'm in. And they said, no, we have a team we want to put together.
My first reaction was, wow, really?
And I said, no, how about give me a shot by myself?
And I thought that maybe I was going to get the show by myself.
And they said, listen, you can go as part of the team or not at all.
You're not getting it alone, Mike. You're not getting it alone, Chris.
So it was very much a shotgun marriage and a rocky one at that in the beginning.
Driving home that first day, I thought it was a career-ending decision. It was some of the worst radio I'd ever heard.
There were a lot of people pulling us in different directions. A lot of the critiques were negative.
It was daunting. There was some trial and error. I think by the end of that first calendar year, we were in pretty good shape.
Within 6 months, we had skyrocketed all the way to the top, something that they said could never happen. And then we knew that whether we liked it or not, we were together and we were tied at the hip.
Mike was a super knowledgeable, encyclopedic New York sports guy.
They beat Romo, they beat Favre, and they beat Brady in the last 3 games.
And the beauty of Chris was he was just that guy that popped off and said whatever was in his mind.
I mean, why waste my time? Every single freaking year, I get myself juiced up with this stupid team, and at 43 years of age and 3 kids, enough already.
So they thought I was a nutcase and nothing about sports, and Mike was the encyclopedia guy who wasn't funny. And I don't think people realize that, Wilson knows more about sports than I thought, and Mike's a lot funnier than I thought.
Kevin Jones takes 2 minutes to go to the bathroom.
But it doesn't take you 5 minutes.
Yes, it does.
At Yankee Stadium?
No, at Fenway Park, it takes 2 hours.
Mike, we're talking about Yankee Stadium here.
It can take a while to go
you
to.
cut it.
Oh, yes, it can.
What are you, nuts?
Having the big coach, the big manager, before the big game was what Mike and the Mad Dog was all about.
Mike Krzyzewski joins Mike Francesa, Christopher Russo, and a fan.
Commissioner Bud Selig with us now, the Commissioner of Baseball.
Head coach of the New York Knicks, Rick Pitino, is with us.
Joined by the head football coach of the Giants, Tom Coughlin.
Derek is joining us here on Sports Radio 66.
I love Torrey. You've done a tremendous job, but Joe, you're not coming clean.
They really were an incredibly powerful voice. It was almost like a bridge between the newspaper columnist era and now the internet era, where they defined a period where sports talk radio had the most influence over things actually happening. The Mets getting Piazza being one example, because the owners and the GMs were all listening to him.
Mike and the Mad Dog Little Sports Talk Show, talking to the President of the United States, and he joins us.
I feel like Mike and the Mad Dog. I belong on a show like that.
It was kind of must-listen radio, and it was radio that people were talking about.
Growing up in Brooklyn, Mike and the Mad Dog was the only show to listen to. It was the show for New York sports.
They got every important guest, especially when a big story's out there.
It was always just entertaining to listen to them in the car. There's always these battles again, Bernie's good, no, he's not that good, oh yeah, it's good, no, he's not that good.
Sometimes they would disagree on stuff, so it was fun listening.
A lot of us players would listen to what they had to say. They had us on their shows.
Mike and the Mad Dog, they're all New York. They were just the eyes and ears and the knowledge of sports. One of the greatest duos ever.
I love Mike and Mad Dog. I love those guys. And it's great that they're getting together for one night only.
Not only are they getting back together, they're getting back together at Radio City Musical. The fans who are here tonight, they're going to just enjoy seeing Mike and I together again doing a show.
It's a big New York night. a lot of folks here that we've had as guests, family, friends, and a lot of our listeners. The lights would be low, and all of a sudden you'd hear that very familiar music start to come up, and
Rockin' the Phantom, WFAN.
not bad. How you doing there? Hello, everybody.
Nice to see you.
Sit down, sit down. Thank you all for coming. 8 years in the making. We'll call this 8 years after. How about that?
8 years, Mike. Is Matt Harvey gone to the bathroom yet?
I want to know one thing.
Yes.
So do these folks. Where have you been for 8 years?
Hey, I want to know that. But I'm back now, baby. How are y'all doing out there today in Radio Land? Everything okay? No, did we ever think on a Tuesday on September 5th or 6th in 1989 that, what is it, 26 years later, haven't been together for 8 years, we'll be sitting here playing Radio City Music Hall.
I mean, think about that. Radio City Music Hall. And hello to everybody up there. Nice to see you. Thank you. But on this stage, James Cagney, Frank Sinatra,
Yeah.
Liberace, and Russo.
1932, right? 1932.
Two more Italians.
And it's great to be here, though. We're going to give you a good sports talk program tonight. We're going to have some fun, a little reminisce. We got some great guests and all you guys who obviously a tremendous cause, so we all appreciate that. Okay.
You know, listen.
Where do you want to begin?
Well, listen, where we begin is, I guess, back at the beginning, because as you saw in the video, did you like the video?
Video's good.
And the video tells the truth, because if you go back and Mark Mason, who's in the, where is Mark Mason, as a matter of fact, sitting? Sit up, stand up, Mark.
Mark
We gotta
Mason,
see
let's
you.
go.
Oh, where's Mark? There's Mark right there. Well, it was Mark Mason who came up with this crazy idea, and I remember on a weekend, I was sitting in for Pete, and we love you too, and I was sitting in for Pete who had been ill, and Mark Mason said, listen, you wanted to go the afternoon drive, I think it can happen, but one thing, you can't go alone. And I said, what do you got in mind? And he told me, and he said, you have the weekend to think about it. And my thoughts weren't great, as a matter of fact. And Dog thought the same thing.
Yes, I
and
did.
when they put us together, it didn't work out very well for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then we had this contest called Dog Date Afternoon that kind of melded things together, and the show took off from there. And we made it together for 19 years, and the fights, maybe 3 or 4. Most of which, in the last 10 years, Rose solved.
Yes, you did. You're getting married, Sol.
Yeah, that solved the big one. We would have broke up 5, 10 years before, as a matter of fact. But through all the thick and thin, we had a lot of fun. We lasted 19 great years together because of really all of you. So we thank you for that.
Well, Mike, we should do it second. Mike gave me a good feel. We did a contest in the fall of '89. And in that contest, I was single at the time. I was 30-something years of age, and my lovely wife is here tonight. But I was single at the time, and Mike said, we got to get Doggy a date. And you know, me being a sap, who knows? Maybe it would be Meryl Streep who would want to go out with me, for crying out loud. So we did a contest where women had to write on a postcard
I guess this is going to be a long story. I'll be back.
why they wanted to go out with Christopher Russo. Our producer, after all these years,
I need to get something to drink.
If there are hundreds and hundreds of them, take down a card and and Mike picked the winner. And so on a Heisman Trophy night, here NJ Ware won. So lo and behold, I got in a limo. I went to Queens, and Mike set everything up. I picked up my date for the night, and I went to go see Cats.
What else would a dog see but cats?
Cats. That was, I know it sounds wacky, but that was a very, Mike with the Diet Cooks here tonight, fans. Something funny right there.
Some things never change, folks.
But that really broke the ice with the two of us.
That did kind of start it off, as a matter of fact. And like we said, through the thick and thin, through 19 years, through a lot of great New York moments, which we're going to relive tonight with our guests. You know, we got a lot of great athletes in the audience who, if we get to, they won't be happy because, you know, we'll wind up making fun of them if we get to them. But we got a lot of friends here, a lot of family, a lot of great athletes in the audience. But we got a bunch of folks who kind of play into the narrative of our 19 years together. Great moments, great coaches like Tom Coughlin, Joe Torre, Jeff Van Gundy, Bobby Valentine, Mark Messier, as a matter of fact. All winners, all champions, and they'll come back and kind of share some of the times with us. But also, we want to give you what a show would sound like if Mike and the Mad Dog were working together in March of 2016. So that's what this will sound like tonight also.
Let's start there, all right? We have the Final Four this weekend. We have Villanova and Oklahoma. Villanova and Oklahoma played in early in the year. And we have North Carolina, of course, in a great matchup against Syracuse. What a job. How do you think Syracuse should have been in the tournament?
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's college athletics in 2016. 4 teams and only 2 of them in jail when they go to the Final Four.
But I think we both agree it's North Carolina's tournament to win.
Yes, absolutely it is. I think they're the best team. But how about Syracuse? They've had a great tournament. They really have.
They got the break of all time and Michigan State lost.
Oh, a lot of Syracuse fans here, huh?
Yeah, Syracuse.
How about Villanova?
Did they get the break of all time, though, with Michigan State losing in that first round? Michigan State should be in this tournament. And Syracuse would not be here if Michigan State didn't get beat.
He's hit me again. It's like he just, you know, it's like...
So, we agree with North Carolina?
Where we agree?
They're going to win a championship.
Yes, I think so. Who did you pick for the tournament starter?
Michigan State.
That's it, Michigan State. Kiss of death. Okay?
I'm the anchor of all
Kiss
time.
of death. Michigan State. But I did pick North Carolina, so I got to stick with it.
You picked North Carolina?
Yes, I did.
You
Yes,
never
I did.
liked Carolina with
I thought they were the best team. I thought they were the best team.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Did you? Who do you like in the other
I have
side?
no one else left except North Carolina, but
I had Oklahoma.
I didn't. I picked Duke.
You picked really?
Yeah,
After
what a
last
dumb- I
year,
didn't
you
like
went
anybody.
Duke again?
And I picked Wichita State.
That was a good pick.
I did only win a couple of games. And I picked Virginia. What a choke job that was.
Virginia.
How bad was that? I mean,
That's what the tournament's been about, comebacks. How about Northern Iowa? Did you coach in that game, Northern Iowa? Oh, my God.
yeah, the guy on the end line looked like you.
And it's 12-point lead, 48 seconds to go for crying out loud. Mike, where you going?
Listen, I'm just trying to get to midnight. That's the only thing, you know? After 8 years, I'm just counting the minutes, folks. That's it. They asked me when I want to do this again. I said, when hell freezes over, okay?
Let's give them the second event. I think the Giants.
Whoa.
That first Super Bowl.
Not
my
San
baseball.
Francisco.
No, the Giant football. I'm going to get
Have
to
you noticed one thing?
I'll get to that Giant baseball sometime.
Have you noticed? Dog was here. You saw that great bit. Oh, I'll never win. I'll never win. Woe is me. He leaves. He wins 3 championships in 5 years.
And I can't scream to anybody for crying out loud.
The only thing is, nobody knew that they won.
You're right about that. Here it is. I got years and years and years of Yankee baseball and a payroll and.
Yeah, Yankee baseball.
Bernie Williams, so did Mike love Bernie. I got to put up with this for years. Pink Cadillacs, championship after championship, and the Giants finally win something.
Win
And I'm
3.
serious for crying out loud. Oh my God. But anyway, that Giant Buffalo. That was a big deal for us. It was a year and a half in.
Right.
We traveled all over the country.
Yep.
We went to the Giants-Niners game with the
We
3-peat
did.
game.
On the way home, we took a red eye And you freaked out on a plane in the middle of the night. Remember that?
Not the first time.
Not the first time.
Yeah.
We went through Cleveland and landed in Tampa about 5 o'clock in the morning. And then you made one of the great predictions of all time. Never forget it.
What'd I say?
Buffalo 49, Giants 13.
How'd that work out?
True story.
I did.
True story.
Absolutely.
Dog hated, he loved the Bills in that offense, because Dog loves offense. So, that Friday, we have to give the predictions, and George Young was with us that Friday.
The late, great George Young. Remember that,
Well,
505?
Bill Parcells and Ron Earhart were preparing for the game on Saturday morning, and he said to me, what did that blankety blank pick, meaning you? And I told him, and he goes, 49-13? He goes, I would have killed myself on the sideline by 30.
Yes, I did. I was so in love. We were watching that Buffalo-Oakland game at Candlestick Park because the Giants played the 49ers. And Buffalo scored 51 that day. They killed the Raiders. There was also no week off that year because of the war.
Yep.
We fly to Tampa. Mike's at the 50-yard line. I'm behind the goalpost, by the way. But not true.
You're cheap.
But anyway, I was so convinced that there's no way Buffalo can lose this game and the Giants win the game, of course, 20-19. That was a big deal because we did that show at the Hyatt before there was Radio Row.
Yep.
And how about all those Giant fans that came to the Hyatt that day?
That was a great one, and then the Giants came back and had some great ones against the Pats, obviously, which is why Tom Coughlin's here tonight.
I think something else that people forget about now, it's 5 years into our relationship. The spring of '94. I want to talk to Mets about it.
Wow.
Remember that?
Yeah, think about how long ago it is, huh? I mean, you're talking a long time, and for Knick fans, it's been a long time.
21 years.
I got Alan here.
See,
Alan, long
We're going to talk down in a minute with that great shot with Van Gundy. But think about it. We had the Rangers go all the way, win their first Stanley Cup. So try to and then we had the Knicks.
Hey, Adam Graves is in the
Yes, he is. Graves is
remember the series where you wanted Adam Graves arrested?
That's another one. That's a good story.
Because he's slashing...
That's right. Lemieux.
Lemieux, yeah.
Adam, in the 93, I think it was 92, 93.
92.
Against the Penguins. Graves got suspended 3 games because he slashed Lemieux.
Right. You wanted him arrested.
Oh, I wanted Adam Graves. I was rooting for the Penguins for crying out loud. You know that. Anyway, Adam got 3 games, and I wore a yellow sweater. The next time Pittsburgh played the Rangers, a bright yellow, one of those Brooks Brothers sweaters, and I had been on the radio for, a week? Killing poor Adam. And I got destroyed by those Blue Cedars at Madison Square Garden that night. You remember that? Because I didn't think that I thought Adam Graves deserved to get suspended. Plus the Rangers lost, which was another problem.
I heard about it, but I never sat up there. So
No, I know that. But the Rangers and the Knicks.
Hey, many trips through Vancouver, Houston, we all know that. So that was a great year.
Well, tell them about me wanting to root for the Rockets.
What do you mean you? You never rooted for, I had a call yesterday. The guy has never rooted for a New York team for one day in his life. Now, you did 20 years in New York on the air and not one time rooted for a New York team. Not one day. And we were in Houston, and I said, let's get Game 6 and get out of here. No. Nothing would be better than Game 7. And we had to stick in Houston for 3 extra days waiting for Game 7 when Kenny Smith, who couldn't buy a shot for 6 games, finally made some shots in Game 7.
Remember the Knicks went down, and that was with the OJ thing, that series. Knicks go back to Houston, they're up 3-2. Game 6 was a Sunday night. John Starks, the great John Starks.
Where is John? John's here, too.
That's it. John Starks. Johnny took a 3. Down 2. Or maybe down 1.
That's what John came here to hear. This is what he came here to hear.
Well, I'm not going to go to Game 7. He took a 3 with about 10 seconds to go with a chance to win a championship. did not make it. And that means we had to stay in Houston an extra couple days. So what I wanted was the 7th game, Houston, Texas, and the Knicks win in the 4th quarter. What I got was the 7th game, and Houston won in the 4th quarter when the NBA championship.
Oh, it was terrible.
That was a great strip, though. That was a great strip. And then you insisted we'd be on the float for the Rangers with the Stanley Cup.
I hadn't won any part of that. That was you. You wanted to do radio on there. What do you? You always want to do remotes.
I love the remotes.
That's it. No matter where, we could have gone to Timbuktu and done a remote.
How about the time we did remotes at the El Conquistador? During
the hurricane.
During the hurricane.
That's it.
We did a remote.
And they're dealing blackjack on the floor in the dining room.
And it was funny. The wind was blowing. It was 100-mile-an-hour winds. And we were doing a show from a big conference room. And Mike said, "Dog, you see that catamaran?" "Yeah, I see it, Mike. Why don't you go sailing it for crying out loud?" That was funny. That was funny, Mike. Laugh.
I thought I got rid of all this, folks, I'll tell you. But tonight, we have a great show for you. We thank everybody for their generosity, for coming. We'll get it all rolling, and we're going to do that in just a second here. But 3 hours now. Tonight the show is on MSG. Tonight the show is on The Fan. Tonight the show is on Sirius.
Sirius XM.
Absolutely. And everybody, no boo, stop it.
Don't boo that great company, please.
Stop it, stop it.
We're all happy tonight.
And we want to tell you how you can make a donation to the great charity, because that's why we're here. First of all net proceeds tonight from tonight's event will go to the Garden of Dreams Foundation that MSG does a terrific job with. Since it began in 2006, Garden of Dreams has brightened the lives of more than 275,000 children and their families. Now, fans, wherever you're watching, listening tonight, can text the word reunion, as in should be one night reunion, to 72727.
Really? Another one's coming back. What are you killing me for crying out loud?
I'm getting ready to retire. You can come back all you want.
Exactly.
To make a tax-deductible donation to the Garden of Dreams, the foundation works with 25 partner organizations throughout the area, including hospitals, wish organizations, community-based organizations, to reach children who are facing challenges, homelessness, poverty, illnesses, foster care. They do a great job helping the kids, which is what it's all about. Tonight, we've already put over $1 million in the bank, thanks to you, so thank you. You deserve a big hand for that. And as we said, we got a busy show. We got questions that we will get to that people sent in through social media. We will get to those throughout the festivities. And we have plenty of guests for you and a lot of other things, as we will take you right up until 11 o'clock. And first up, though, let's watch this little video. Number one.
Leading your team to the Super Bowl is the NFL's greatest achievement. Tom Coughlin did it twice in 4 years and won. In 2004, when he took over the struggling New York Giants, Coughlin helped right the ship of one of sports' greatest franchises. He led the team to multiple NFC East Division titles and is one of 13 coaches in the history of the sport to win multiple Super Bowls. Widely regarded as one of the most successful and admired coaches in NFL history, Tom Coughlin is a New York sport icon in every sense of the word.
And how about a tremendous ovation for a future Hall of Fame coach, Tom Coughlin, tonight?
That's nice. Coach, that's nice. Big hand, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You won to earn that time. You know that? You earned that times two, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Appreciate it,
Great to
Mike.
see you, Coach. How you doing? Okay.
Nice to see you, Chris. Very nice.
Have you transitioned? How's the transition been?
Transition is the word. That's right. Not retired. I'm transitioning. Joe Brown's retiring after 50 years in the NFL. He sent me a note. Joe said, "You're transitioning. You're not retired."
There you go.
No doubt.
Have you missed the little meetings with the free agents? Give me a little rundown there.
You miss all that stuff. You know, the first thing you miss is your routine. You know, the routine is what keeps you going. I mean, 4:30 in the morning and so on and so forth. But it's a very good, very solid routine, and you have to work your way into a new one. But all the things that have passed by, I was at Indianapolis for the Combine. I was at the competition committee meetings prior to the league meetings. So, you know, I've been involved. I've been busy, and sometimes I don't know what I'm busy about, but I've been busy.
Well, you have a charity, which we'll get to in a minute, which you do a great job with. You started many years ago. But, you know, the Hall of Fame will beckon in a couple of years, 5 to be exact, unless you come back and coach again, which, you know, who knows. 2 great wins, 2 historic wins, especially the upset. You know, when you think back to the upset of the undefeated Pats, you know, one of the great upset games, one of the great games, not just in Giant history, but NFL history. When you go back to that game, Coach, what do you think about? What's your thought that you think about when you think about that game?
Well, the first thing I thought about was watching the catch with Tyree and how hard I worked with Tyree on making it. Took a long time to get him. And then Justin Tuck is downstairs, and I saw Justin's name fly up in the picture there as well. But when you look back and you think back to that, you think of the 16th game, first of all, when we played the Patriots, and when I said without a doubt that the New York Giants, the famous New York Giants franchise, will not be in a game with a team that's undefeated, and for history be recorded that we did not play all out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because that was a big debate, if you remember.
Big debate.
Yes, big debate.
People had sides in that.
Yeah, we know, we argued it a lot.
Mike and I fought that a lot, yeah.
And remember, we lost 2 players in that game. They came back.
Rooters, the center, right?
Yeah, O'Hara got hurt.
There's Justin Tuck, you see him there?
We lost.
When you prepared that week for that game, when you got to Saturday, the night before that Super Bowl, were you confident?
We were. And I'm always confident based on how our team prepares and how we practice. After that 16th game of the season, we knew we could play with them. Now, that was a whole different ball game. That was 38-35.
Great game.
And, of course, the Super Bowl was going to be totally different.
Right.
But the idea of playing a team that was 18-0, a great football team that had literally blown people away all year long, and then to rise up. But you know what's the key, Mike and Chris, is when you watch this year's Super Bowl, you remember how we won Super Bowl 42 and 46. You knocked the quarterback down.
Yes, right.
You passed it. You knocked the quarterback down. Tuck is out there. I've got a great picture in my office, and here it is with Brady laying on the ground with 91, 92, and 72 are walking back to the defensive line.
Wow, that's a good shot. You know, why don't you, Mike and I were at the game. How about the cold of Green Bay 2 weeks prior to that? In a famous picture of you, the 2 famous
I still got a little of that going, yeah. You know what was interesting about that? You know, I went out pregame, and okay, it's minus 24. No gloves, no hat, nothing on my ears. I went out, I was out there about 30 seconds, and I said, how in the hell am I going to get back inside to get these? But by halftime, you made the adjustment. And then in the second half, I didn't even feel it in the second half.
Now, you do it once, but you come back and you do it to the Pats again. Yeah. So to do it the second time, I mean, to win the second Super Bowl, that separates you when you win the second Super Bowl.
Well, and they were a great team again. And both games ended, as everybody out here knows, the same way.
Yep.
And the ball in the air and a shot at the deep ball, it happened in 42 and it happened again in 46. I couldn't quite see in the last one. And if you notice, remember they came at it a little bit different. Instead of being a 3-1, they were 2-2 and up in the air they go. And he threw a rocket, not the lofted arcing ball. And I thought, uh-oh, and the ball did tip and started down, which you don't want. And of course, Antrell banged into Hernandez there, and the ball hit the ground.
Just like Moss. You know, it's funny too. That was another great championship game, Mike. The game in San Francisco. They had a great defense.
One of the hardest hitting games I can remember that game.
And the respect that Eli got throughout the league. He got beat up and hung in there and won the game.
Yeah, you know, his durability, his ability to be there every week, Coach. You know, people don't pay enough attention to how hard it is to be there every single week.
Right. You're exactly right. And to be able to count on that every week. And, you know, he's had games where, you know, his shoulder was hurt that one time and everybody thought, well, he wouldn't play. He played. You know, he's played them all. And the fact that he's always there is a huge comfort level for the coaches as they get ready to prepare.
Let's talk for a second about your transformation. You know, there was a couple of times we didn't know how long Tom would be here, and then you became a big-time players coach. You know, that right before that, you made a big adjustment. You've been coaching for a long time, great at BC with Jacksonville, and then you had to sort of get more into the player mind. Give me some thoughts about that.
And I did, and Pat Hanlon, God bless him. Pat was the guy who really helped me at the end of the year, if you guys remember.
Yep.
But also, it was time for us to make that little bit of change because, you know, I had, in the jobs that I had had as a head coach, I knew exactly what I was getting into. And when we started in New York, it was the same way. 4-12, didn't play well the year before, quit in a lot of games and all kinds of injuries. So you start tough. You don't start on the easy way. But I remember Charles Way saying to me, Coach, let them see how you are with your grandkids. You know, while you're playing in the grass and throwing the ball around and doing that stuff after a practice or something. But I sat and I met with members of the media and we talked about, you know, gloves are off. You know, it was, you know, I don't like you, you don't like me, but what can I do to help? And what really hit me hard was that the people that I talked to were blue-collar workers. They want to do the job to the best of their ability. I wasn't helping them do their job to the best of their ability to the extent that I could. And, you know, I mean, there's no way they're going to get all the information, you know that, but give them enough so that they have an opportunity to do their job. And so from that, and then with the players and starting with the, you know, the leadership council, and of course, Strahan, winning Strahan over, that was huge as well.
You know, the one thing though, Tom, which was fair with the media, and coaches play favorites, and they manipulate the media, they play favorites. You never got into those games.
No,
that wasn't your way. You never played one against the other or favored one against the other. That wasn't your way.
I never believed in that, and whatever we were trying to be fair, and I didn't have any phone numbers, and I didn't get things leaked out that I wanted leaked out. None of that.
And some coaches are masters at that, as you know. I mean, all the time. Let me get to one other thing, which is, I know not the easiest subject. Coaching these guys now, even a guy as talented as Beckham is, it's difficult. I mean, isn't it hard nowadays? I mean, it seems like that you have to almost back off with these guys now, that they won't tolerate certain stuff. Can you coach those players the way you always wanted to coach those players?
Well, you do have to change because the millennials are a different breed. They're a different group. They've been raised differently. They're multitaskers. They can do a lot of things. You know, my experience has been they're very, very smart. But you got to coach differently. You know, it's not the same. You can present and get things done the way you want them done. You just have to go about it a little bit differently. But my experience has been, because of veteran players introducing to younger players how the coaching staff operates, they really made it easier on me because they came to us, the young ones, with the idea that, you know, this guy is going to coach us to the best of his ability, and there's no agenda, and that has helped us along the way.
You know, I wasn't focused as much about it since I wasn't doing the radio in New York, but I got the impression this year you hadn't even made a decision, didn't think about it, could care less about it. I got to worry about the Eagles in week 17, that you didn't even think about your future until almost the next morning, or maybe even driving home after that game against the Eagles in week 17.
Well, I tried never to do that because the most important thing in my obligation was to get my team ready to play, and we did that. And that's the thing that I'm most proud of about this team is, you know, you guys can verify this. We played hard in every game. Now, you know, you lose 8 games by 6 points or less. You know, you figure somehow, some way, you're going to win 2 or 3 of those, right, and then we wouldn't have to be talking about this. But it didn't happen.
Does it bother you that the Giants will now spend $200 million on defense?
I don't worry. Well,
it bothered me, I can tell you that much. I'm driving a 52 Ford, here come 3 Maseratis.
Well, what bothers me is we know that you're not going to win a championship without great defense. You gotta do something about that. It didn't happen. Now it's happening.
What was your take on Carolina against Denver? The Broncos had a lot of trouble moving the football. Cam didn't really get himself. I know the Bronco defense. Cam didn't handle himself that great either after the game. What was your take on how Denver played against Carolina?
Well, they showed you the way again. I mean, nobody expected that to be played to that extent. You knew it was going to be a defensive game, but to that extent, they did an outstanding job. And really, Carolina just had struggled to find the right answers.
That defense played great. Now, you have time now, and you've always done it, but you created the J Fund, your own charity. We're here, obviously, for the Garden of Dreams.
thank you.
You've done a lot of work with your charity. Let's talk about that for a minute, because I know this year especially, you're dedicating a lot more of your time to your J Fund.
I am, and I want to congratulate this crowd, by the way, for coming out tonight for this. This is a great cause. And what drew me to this, you know, the Garden of Dreams Foundation, what drew me to this idea was that there are many parallels. You're trying to help young people, no matter how you can. The J Fund Foundation, which was established in 1996, I had a player who lost his battle to leukemia when I was at Boston College. He was a young man by the name of Jay McGillis. And I knew that if I was ever given the opportunity to give back, it would be in the spirit of Jay McGillis, and we would do things to help families who have a child with leukemia or cancer. And we've done that now. This will be, thank you, but we will be, May 22nd and 23rd of this year will be our 21st Celebrity Golf Classic for the J Fund in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. We just finished a wine tasting in Jacksonville where we had 950 people attend a wine tasting. And in October, as soon as the league schedule comes out, we will have our 12th Champions for Children gala here in New York City, and we are in the business of helping families who have a child with cancer. We do it all different kinds of ways. The ways in which it falls through the cracks: mortgages, groceries, electric bills, funeral expenses, you name it, we do it. And when we have a system by which families are recognized, and when they're recognized, the check is there.
One last thing. Good, that's a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
You said this when you were a kid. You played football. Did you come home one day moaning and groaning about something? Your father said, "You know what? Don't play."
Yeah.
If
No,
you play. Tell that story.
He didn't say it that way, but I'm a sophomore in high school. And we're playing against a very, very good football team, and I'm playing fullback and safety or something like that. And I didn't think I played that poorly, but when I got home, I grabbed the front doorknob and I opened the door. My father looked at me, you know, blue collar guy, a tough guy, 7 kids. I'm the oldest of 7. He took a look at me and he said, "If that's as hard as you're going to play, do something else."
Wow.
That's a good message.
That was the message, and I took that to heart.
How many times have you said that to a player?
I've said that a few times. And I've told that story, and I've told it in a different way.
Are you going to be involved with the Giants this year at all? Or
I don't think so. I don't think so, no.
Because they made that idea of leaving the door open. I mean, is that something that
But
happened?
there's really not there's not been a lot of discussion about that. And I really don't see how, once the decision was made, you know.
Hard to go back, right?
Well, I mean, move on, I think is what I'm saying.
Do you think you almost got a crack with Eagles? Do you think that you still, I mean, we all know that, you know, they like the younger coaches, everything else. Do you think you could still coach again, another opportunity in the NFL?
Oh, I know I can coach. It's just if that opportunity is going to come. I know that part. And, you know, we'll see where the energy level comes back up again. I was telling Mike this earlier. It's got to come back up, but it will.
Are we going to see you on? Are you going to do TV this fall? I mean, are you one of those guys that are going to be doing TV this year?
I don't know. I'm going to talk and listen to a couple of things, and we'll see.
This guy might get your show on Sirius. They got a lot of channels over there. He could use a little help over there, as a matter of fact.
Hey, listen. You know why the chair's in between these two, don't you? Why I'm sitting between them.
You know,
my show's going to be opening up soon.
Somebody said that backstage. You never retire, Mike.
Don't retire. You expire when you retire.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Tom, it's great to see you again.
Chris.
Thanks very much.
Great job. Thanks for coming.
Have fun with this, guys. Have fun.
Everybody on social media and everywhere, they ask us some questions.
I have the questions. My bag is.
I'm going to ask them to you.
Okay, go ahead.
and then we'll respond. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. Since we can't take them from the audience, well, they're from the audience, though. This one was from Greg LaChapelle via Twitter.
Okay. But you and I never did this in 1989, I'll tell you that.
Dear Dog. No, I'm not kidding. If you could manage or coach any team in any sport, which one would it be? Which sport and which team?
Wow. I would not coach in the NBA because you need great players. That's number one. I wouldn't coach in baseball because it's 162 games and it's guaranteed contracts. So you can't, if you play badly, they're not going to fire the player, they're going to fire you.
Are you going to the NHL?
No, I'm not going there. Me, hockey, what are you kidding? I would say the NFL. I think you have the
I
most
thought you would have
power.
said baseball for sure. You're going to say NFL?
I think you have the most power. Because if they don't play well, there's no guarantee, there's not as much guaranteed contracts, you can maneuver a little bit. I would say the NFL. How about that? How about you?
I would say the NFL myself. I would absolutely say the NFL. I'm shocked, Dog, but I thought Dog would have said baseball.
Did you
for sure.
really? Yeah.
All right. This is from Tom Curry via Twitter. What team, if you could coach one NFL franchise, which one would you coach?
Green Bay. How would anybody not want to coach where Lombardi coached? How would anybody not want to coach where they live and dream Packer football on a day in, day out basis? You know, Mike, I think Green Bay's the best franchise right now. I really do.
Green Bay. You pick Green Bay.
I would, yeah.
I would pick the Detroit Lions. You know why? One, they never won a Super Bowl. I think it's time. And two, I get to play dog twice a year.
Remember those spring games we used to have? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you won one.
I did. In Rutgers, we used to coach the spring game.
We
What
played
did I love
16. You won one.
Yes, I was at 16. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Yes.
Tom via Twitter. In the years you were together, which New York sports moment was the biggest one the next day after it happened?
When the Yankees lost the Red Sox in 2004. With the 3-0 lead. I tell you, I'll say one thing. Mike handled that so well when they had the 3-0 lead and they kind of brought, and Red Sox won 4 straight, because you had to take a lot of hits. The Red Sox fan at Yankee Stadium, that was one of the most exciting days in my career, watching Mike sweat the Bo Sox in 2004.
That was bad. I admit it. That was ugly. That was 8 innings of just absolute torment.
And they got blown out in the game.
Or 8-0 in the second inning.
Yeah, again, Tommy, who was pitching? There was Javier Vasquez.
Or Kevin Brown, and then Javi Vasquez.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Indeed.
Johnny Damon hitting home runs.
And Ortiz hit that ball.
Ortiz. Pedro comes in. Remember that?
Yeah, he got that. The year came in the year before.
That's a good one. But what do you think? What do you think was the one where we ran and said, "Boy, this at 1 o'clock is going to be off the charts"?
Wow.
You know what was a big one? You know what was a really big one? The day after they fired Buck Showalter.
Oh, that
Remember
was.
The next day, and they hired Clueless Joe. Remember that? Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, Clueless. We killed.
Oh yeah, he only won about 42 World Series.
Boy,
after
we
that.
killed Torrey. Oh my gosh.
But that was a crazy
You
show.
had all the faxes going to
You were
Yankee
in Puerto
Stadium.
Rico playing craps.
I was playing Puerto Rico. Mike had all the faxes going to George Steinbrenner's office when they fired Buck Showalter. You remember that? That was funny. Oh, okay.
All right. This is a Mongo Nation question. Hello, Mongo Nation, wherever you are. What about New York sports worries you right now?
The Knicks. No. What about New York sports worries me right now? I think the baseball's okay. I think the football is okay. I think the Giants will bounce back a little bit. I think the Jets, is Ryan Fitzpatrick in the building tonight? Sign the contract, Ryan, please.
Fitzpatrick's here, isn't he? You got a message for him?
I already said it. telling me they can't get anything going.
I'll tell you this, if I threw 30 touchdown passes, I'd be expensive. I'll tell you that right now.
We have to erase the Buffalo film in week 17.
What about New York sports? Where is me?
Me? How did I get in that conversation?
What?
How did I get in that conversation?
Every day I'm worried you might come back. I have no worries right now. Some teams do, but I don't. I think everything's great. Here we go. If you could do an interview, now many times we said this. We always wanted to interview Joe DiMaggio.
Always.
We tried every way we could. We went to guys who were his friends.
Yeah.
We went to Hank down in Miami. We went to Ted Wood. Remember Ted Williams? We asked him to talk, to mediate for us.
Yeah.
I don't think Ted was serious. But
I remember that, yes.
we never got to talk to Joe. So Aaron on Twitter wants to know, what would be your first question to Joe DiMaggio?
Wow.
That would have been the second question.
First question to DiMaggio. Boy, that's a good, wow. What would be the first question to Joe D? I know what it is.
Where have you gone?
Now, that's one. Joe, why didn't you get out of the way when Mickey was going after that fly ball?
You wonder why he never did an interview with us. We were going to ask him about why he crippled Mantle and what happened to Marilyn Monroe. Guy was smart not to do an interview with us, right?
That was game one of the 51 World Series when Mickey fell over the drain pipe. You remember that? With Joe D calling him off out in right field. Right
now,
field.
Before we bring out our next guest,
yes,
you and I have a little thing we usually do. It's almost baseball season.
And why not?
It's almost opening day, which means over-unders.
Over-under!
And how this works, here's the deal. 6 teams, 3 over, 3 under. We have all the numbers. Dog said beforehand we're playing for $10,000.
I did. That's right, honey, 10,000.
We're giving that to the charities, or we're keeping it?
You don't need my 10 grand. I need yours. You don't need mine.
You're doing just fine. We're going to give it to the charity. You have to give 10 to the charity I pick. I have to give 10 to the charity you pick.
That's a fair one, right? 10,000. Put a little pressure on us.
The way this works is I'll flip the coin. You get the choice. You can either go first
or second and third. Okay, we have to give them the numbers with the teams, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is not the NFL, so this actually works.
Feel lucky.
I mean, you think you can get some guys in the NFL? They have like $10 billion a year. They can't flip a coin.
Who was that? Cleat? That was the Green Bay Arizona guy. The Cleat Pickman.
Here we go. That's heads.
Yep.
That's tails.
You got it.
You call it here.
All right. Tails.
It is heads.
Heads. Your choice.
Want to look? Look.
Thank you. It is heads. It's heads. What
I will take second and third.
Okay, Mike will take second and third. I'll go first.
Not yet. Not yet. A little later.
Oh, later?
We have to give them the numbers first.
Oh, that's right.
That's
A
it.
little later.
Some of them might want to run to their establishment.
None of my picks.
Go against yours.
Yeah. But that's over-unders. We'll play that a little later on.
So we will do that. Now we know that it's second, third, but we're going to bring in...
Let's go.
Someone else. But first, another videotape. Let's watch.
The 1996 New York Yankees were full of talent, but it was Joe Torre who led the charge. Torre was the 1971 National League MVP and a 9-time All-Star. He commanded the respect of his players and a team-first mentality, which ultimately became the centerpiece of the Yankees' dominance. Torre managed the Yankees for 12 years, but it was the title in 1996 which launched a dynasty. His Yankees made the postseason every year of his tenure, including winning 6 American League pennants and 4 World Series.
Hall of Famer Joe Torre today.